Hey everyone, how's it going? This is a very dumbed down tutorial of how to use TSM4 in WoW Classic. So the first thing you want to do is install both the TSM add-on as well as the TSM app helper add-on. This is so you can run the desktop application, and this will constantly update your database and have more information that you would have if you scanned the auction house manually all the time. Here I'm showing you how to set it up. You just set up realms, you need to log on to your account, and then you need to set which servers you are playing on. And that's it. Also make sure your WoW folder is correct. Once you've done that, you'll realize that your tooltips have a lot more information even if you've never scanned. This is because of the desktop app. It'll every 2 hours get database from TSM and it'll show it to you. It also has information of other regions, and you can show that in the tooltips. I'll show that in a little bit. The auctioning UI is also completely different. You can change it back if you don't feel comfortable doing searches that way, but you can always go back to TSM4, which has a lot more features. I will not cover auctioning groups. That's something I personally do not use. I got them from the TSM website. You can get them there, but I'm not going to go over them because I think that's too much information for people starting out. So let's start with the basics. You want to do a search. There's a bar there. You can search and type in whatever you want to look up, and as you see, it'll automatically not only show you different posts made by the same person for the same price into one, but it'll also show you how much below or above market that is right now. Another way you can search is to shift left click an item, and since I noticed that this is way above market value, I'm going to post some of these onto the auction house. And I can do that by clicking on the button that says post, and it'll automatically undercut the person. And I can change how many stacks, change the time, change all of that, and then click on post. And I just created 5 different auctions of 1 potion each, and they're undercutting the person that already had a post. Now you might have noticed a while ago when I was searching for greater fire protection potions that it showed also the recipe. In case you do not want that show, you can at the end of your query do /exact, and it will show you only things that have exactly that name. And as you can see, there's a difference between doing one and doing the other. Now say for example that you want to compare these with normal fire protection potions. You can do that by adding a semicolon and then typing the name of the other item that you want to search, and it'll show a search with all of these into one panel. And that way you can compare prices, see which one you want to buy or not, and shows a lot more information than just having to do them one by one. Now let's take a look at the crafting interface. You see that there's a column that says profit. Be careful with this because it's not 100% accurate. It's dependent on settings that you made and the latest auction house scan that you have. So please be careful. I'll give you an example. If we search for the potions that we just posted, you'll see that there's a loss on making each one of these. But I'm now going to scan the auction house and we'll see what the results are at the end of that. So in this case we would be making money instead of losing money, but be careful when you look at these profits. So now let me walk you through using crafting to try to make money. So as you can see here, I noticed that these major mana potions are a hell of a lot of profit, but let's check if this is actually true or what's going on with this. So as we can see, it's completely above market price, way above. So I know that these on my server sell for 3 gold easily. So the fact that they are way above 3 gold means that I can probably make some decent money off of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use TSM to also scan the materials and check if they're actually at the price that my add-on seems to think they are. And I'm going to queue up 5 different potions to make. This automatically gives me these options, which allows me to scan. It checks my alts, it checks my bank, it checks my email to see if I have any of the items, and it only buys the items that I actually need. So as I can see here, there's 10 posts 11 posts of one stack, and I can just spam the buyout button and it'll buy out up until 10, and it won't let me buy anymore, and it'll remove it from the gathering list. Once you've done that, you just have to run to the mailbox and get all the items that you just bought. TSM has a button that allows you to instantly get all the items that you've either bought, expired from the auction house, sold, etc. Another thing that's worth to mention is if you are using the TSM vendoring, you can, using the TSM task list, buy the things from vendors that you need. But you need to have the vendoring open. If you are using the default Blizzard UIs, it won't work. And once you have that, you can just craft next. If you had multiple things, you would have to wait until you crafted all 5 of these potions and then craft next. You would craft however many of the next potions that you had to craft. Again, since I don't use the auctioning groups, once I've done the potions, I shift left click to search whatever is on the auction and then post and undercut whoever is selling for the lowest. So now that you have an idea of how to use TSM, here are some tips to save some time. You can set a recipient for your disenchantables and it'll send all BOEs to that character when you press that button. You can also set up specific mailing groups and which characters you want to send these items to. For example, if you have a gatherer, you can send all your herbs to a specific character. And here's how to set this up. You go to /TSM, you go to groups, you need to create different groups, set which items you want to be part of that group, and once you go to group operations, you'll have a drop-down menu and you can create a new operation, in this case for mailing. I already have it, but you can see once I press the cogwheel what these settings look like, and you can set which character you want these herbs to be sent to, how many you want to keep on yourself, as well as other things. You can also see which operations are being applied to which groups if you scroll down into group management, and you can also associate this way. Another useful feature that TSM has is the ledger. It shows exactly how much you spent, how much you earned, from everything from mailing, trading, auction, even repair bills. So if you're ever wondering how much you spent on a specific raid day for repairs, you can look that up. It has all of that. If you're wondering how much you sold a specific item a week ago, you can also look that up. And this is useful to track how much prices fluctuated, for example. And you can also see how much profit you made out of buying and selling certain items. It's pretty useful. Now about settings, this is way more important than I make it seem by putting it so late into the video, but this is where you customize what your tooltips look like. And my personal tip is to display region market value average. It's very important to know if an item you're trying to buy or sell is way off of what the other servers are selling. It could be an indication of something wrong with the price. It could be an indication of someone trying to scam you. It's very important. Also, you can display how much an item disenchants for. This is useful if you want to decide if you want to sell the item or you want to send it to an alt to disenchant it. I suggest adding the minimum buyout on AuctionDB, because this is usually a worse estimate than using the market value. And by worst I mean pessimist. And this is one of the most important things in my opinion. It's the crafting string. Now you can customize this in any way you like, and if you do, you're also at risk of making mistakes. But I'll give you some suggestions of what I enjoy and what some people might enjoy. But in order to know what we're doing, we have to go onto the TSM website. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the string, but since this is more of a beginner tutorial, I'm just going to explain what you see on the screen by default. So it takes the minimum between the market value the cost to craft it, the cost to buy it from the vendor, the cost to convert it from anything in the market, and how much you can buy it on the auction house right now. So one thing I suggest to most people is copy the string on below and paste it on top. What you gain from this is that it chooses the first between how much you can buy it on the auction house right now, and if you can't buy it on the auction house right now, what the market value for that item is. This makes it so your materials will look at how much you can buy it for right now. And if you're not satisfied with it, you can just press the reset button. So two things you can do is add the dbmin buyout to the material cost. This is so that if it's below market value, it'll show you better margins, and also the final product should be cut by 95% because the auction house takes 5% when you sell the item. So as you can see, the prices update immediately, and you can see the difference between what we saw before and what we see now. Another thing that sometimes happens is materials that have limited supply in vendors. It will look at the vendor price instead of the auction price, and you probably shouldn't be looking at the vendor price since it's limited. So you can go to crafting reports, materials, look for that specific item that is misbehaving, and remove the vendor buy from this string right here. You can also use TSM to more easily get certain items that you need for crafting from the bank. You do /tsm get whatever the item is, and you can also do /tsm put whatever the item is, and it will automatically transfer all of that item that you have from the bank or to the bank. Once you've learned how to do searches, you can do a very long string of multiple things that you want to buy often, and you can put that all and favorite it, and then once you click that button, it'll automatically search for all these items that you already listed before. This is useful, for example, for raiding supplies, and you can see all of them in one window, and you can see what's less expensive than it usually is, what's more expensive, and decide if you want to buy them now or try again later. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments below. I left out a lot of things, but this should be enough for you to start using this application and getting more used to it. So yeah, later.